Okay, we've had some positive feedback from people about our first Joondalup test routes video, so we're going to take you out and show you another one today. They are real live routes and you may actually be taken on something like this, so pay attention. Okay, first thing to consider here is that we have right of way against that car coming in from the T-junction, but we do have to give way to traffic that may be coming towards us and turning left. We were lucky in that case, there was no one to contend with. Okay, we're going to go straight ahead here at this stop sign. Now the first thing you've got to remember is to stop. Feel the car rock back when you stop. Check right and left. Check for pedestrians who might be crossing in front of you as well, who might cause you a problem. And if it's all clear, proceed. Okay, now we're going to take the first street on the right. Wait for the oncoming traffic. Turn before we get to the midpoint of the intersection without cutting the corner. Now, as you can see from the sign in front of us down here, there is only one way we can go. Okay, we're going to turn left at the first street. Just check our mirrors, make sure there are no bikes around. And around we go. Shouldn't have been a need for a blind spot check there for bikes because we just turned the corner and knew there were no bikes whatsoever on that street. We also had good vision from both of our mirrors. Okay, through the roundabout, making sure that you don't cut through. We don't want to straight line the roundabout, it's a two-lane roundabout. Up here at the intersection where the traffic lights are, we are going to turn left. Now again, we know there are no bikes around us. We're travelling at a reasonable speed. Coming up here into the slip lane. Now we've got to check for cars coming from two different places. The traffic lights opposite us, there are cars turning right, they're coming around now. And if there wasn't traffic coming from there, we'd have to check over our right shoulder at the traffic that's coming straight through the traffic lights. Okay, they won't be coming through from both places at once, but you have to check both areas. Now just coming up here, we're going to pass through an intersection. We make sure that we don't block the intersection, so we've got to check up ahead just to make sure that all the traffic in front of us has actually cleared that intersection. Yep, we can see that they have, so we can move on through. Okay, turning right without the aid of an arrow. Now, one thing to consider when you're doing your driving test in Joondalup is the time of the day that you do the test. Now, people have got various opinions on when you should do your test. My firm opinion is that you should do your test early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Any time after about 9 AM and before about 2:30 PM is very busy around the Joondalup CBD, and so if you want to give yourself the best possible chance of getting a clear run through your test, you should try to do the test when the amount of traffic and the amount of pedestrians is minimised. So you're going to have less interactions with those cars and pedestrians and less chance for something to go wrong, because although you might drive really, really well, it only takes one incident to derail your entire test. So ignore the people that say avoid peak hour. Before 9 AM in Joondalup is actually the best time to do your test. And it's the earlier the better. If you can get a 7:15 test, all well and good. Get out of bed early, go and do a lesson beforehand, and then do your test. Maybe not so much in winter, right in the middle of the year around June and July. Maybe you'd wait for the next test slot because it is a bit dark when you're doing your pre-test lesson. And it's also cold, and windows tend to fog up a bit as well when it's really cold. Okay, just waiting for a green light here. As soon as the light goes green, we move out beyond the line. We don't necessarily turn across the traffic, but we move out. Okay, in this case, the white car is a long way away, so we can go straight around. Okay, just watching for hazards here. you see a hazard, respond to it, slow down. Through this area here, we tend to drive fairly slowly most of the time. It's only really early in the morning that it's quiet along here. The rest of the time, it's pretty busy with pedestrians and people trying to park because it's so close to the Joondalup shops. Okay, once we get onto this section of road, less pedestrians, less cars, you can get up closer to the speed limit. Now, you don't necessarily drive at the speed limit because there is always the chance that you may stray over the limit. Coming up here, the road branches out into 2 lanes. You can pick whichever lane you want here if you're going straight ahead. I'll choose the left lane. But the fact that it's gone from 1 lane to 2 should make it obvious to you that it's probably going to go from 2 lanes to 1 on the other side of the traffic lights. Now, we're first car in line at the traffic lights. That means that we must do a right and left check as we take off from the traffic lights. I would advocate doing a right and left check whenever you go through traffic lights. So check right, check left. The order is important because the traffic from your right will hit you first. Okay, we check our blind spot, we move across. Notice I indicated there, and that's because the left lane was the one that was running out. The right lane continued straight. And that's the case with all movement points in Joondalup. It's always the left lane that runs out. Okay, turning right into this street. Just make sure you don't cut the corner across those very faded white lines. And continue along here, just making sure that you clear these parked cars by an open door width, a good 1.5 metres. We can tell there's somebody in this last car here, the brake lights are on. We've got to make sure we clear them by a comfortable margin because drivers don't always look properly before they open doors. Okay, coming up here, it's a stop sign with a stop line. We stop the car, we feel the bump when the car stops. There is no need to wait for any certain number of seconds after you've stopped, you just have to physically stop the car. And now we're on a main road here, 2 lanes in both directions. Now, we didn't see a speed sign when we drove onto this road. It looks like a fairly main road, but the speed limit on this road is 50. Now you can drive somewhere between 45 and 50 in a 50 zone, that's fine in your test. Just try and keep it above 45. Now you may notice on the speed on the camera here on the bottom of the screen that I'm going a little bit slow at times. That's because the car speedo reads higher than the car's true speed. The GPS on the camera is very accurate. So if you see me dropping down, going a little bit slow, don't worry, I'm driving to my car's speedo, and that's what you must do in your driving test. Don't try and be smart and work out what the car's true speed is. All the assessor knows when they look at your dashboard is the speed that the car is, the speedo is telling you. Okay, I'm second car in line. I'm still going to check right and left. I'm still watching the car in front just to make sure they don't do anything rash. Now you notice that the traffic lights changed to amber as I came through there. That's fine. When I entered the intersection, the lights were green. Okay, 2 signs, it means it's a change of speed limit from here. Okay, so I speed up from 50 up to 70 at that point. If you start to speed up before you get to the 2 signs and you exceed the speed limit in the old speed zone, you could well fail for speeding. So you've got to stick to those concepts rigidly. If there's only 1 sign, then it's a continuation of the same speed limit. If there are 2 signs together, it's a change of speed zone where those 2 signs are. So remember that, it's very important. As people turn onto this road from side streets, they won't know the speed limit. As you can see, there's a side street there, there's a side street up here. There is no speed sign to tell you what the speed limit is. If you turn onto this road, you might know the speed limit just from local knowledge. But if you don't know the speed limit or you're not sure, just drive onto the road, do the default speed limit, which is 50, but immediately tell the assessor that that's the reason that you're doing that speed. Just say, I don't know the speed limit, I'm going to assume that it's 50. I would expect that the assessor would let you know what the speed limit is, because they understand that the signage isn't up to standard and it shouldn't be to your detriment. Okay, we're turning left onto this street here. When we get to this roundabout, we're going to take the second exit, which is to the right. There is no street to the left in this case. And indicating off the roundabout. Okay, we're going to take the first street on the left, and then we're going to try and find somewhere to pull over and park the car. Okay, Now we're a little bit close to this side street, so I'd probably avoid this area here. We're getting past the side street now, and yeah, there's some good spots to park at down here. This one just here would be fine. You've got to be careful that you don't park across the driveway, because this guy's front yard is all made of brick pavers, which is exactly the same material as his driveway, so you've got to be careful. Probably a safer place to park in terms of missing the driveway would be the two properties just down from here, because the driveways have a border around them that makes it quite clear what the front yard is and what the driveway is. And in addition, the two front yards are together, so you've probably got about 30 metres of brick paving there where you could park. You're also not creating any danger, because the road, although it's not straight there, it does bend slightly to the right. So anybody who is coming down behind you and needs to see clear road ahead of them to overtake, they can do so. They've got plenty of time to get around and get back in before they get to the intersection. This one might be slightly better in terms of being equidistant from the two intersections, but any of these spaces or any of these areas of road are fine for pulling over and parking. Just make sure that you don't park across the driveway. There is also a fire hydrant marker on the road down the road there, but it's too close to the corner for parking anyhow. But remember, if you do see a white H on the road, which is a fire hydrant marker, you can't park within 1 metre of that. Okay, so we've stopped here. We're going to do the left something behind exercise. Now, the assessor will get you to drive for about 5 to 10 minutes in the first section of your driving test, and then get you to pull over somewhere on the side of the road, and then explain to you what the second section or the next section of the test is going to be. In this case, as I said, left something behind. You have to take note of where you're parked at the moment. You will drive away. At some point, the assessor will tell you that you've left something behind and you need to turn around and go back to where you were. So you need to turn around once, which will bring you back in the opposite direction towards where we are now. But you will also have to drive past where we are now and turn around again so that you can get back onto the correct side of the road and come back down and park in the same place. Now, there is a chance, because this is a pretty busy road for tests and for lessons, that somebody may have parked in your spot while you've been gone. So you just need to come back and park somewhere close. The exercise is all about testing your general driving ability plus your ability to manoeuvre safely. So whether or not you park outside the right house shouldn't be of any great consequence. Okay, so we're going to move away. We put the car into the appropriate gear. We check our mirrors. The reason we check our mirrors now is to see if anyone's coming. If somebody is coming up behind us, we're not going to indicate to say that we're moving away, because that would just confuse the driver behind. So we wait for the person behind us to do whatever they've got to do. If they go past us, all well and good, and then we'll indicate. So we check behind, there's no one coming. I'll indicate. I'll check over my shoulder, yep, and we move away and then cancel the indicator. Now I'm going to come down here. The assessor might well tell me to turn right, so that's what I'm going to do here. And around about now, they might tell me that I've left something behind. So I'm looking around for good places to turn. Now, I want somewhere where I've got good vision. Here's a nice wide side street. Yep, there's nobody coming out of that side street, so I'm going to turn really, really late here. And now I've got a van coming down the hill. Okay, plan B. I'll drive into this street. It looks like a bit of a cul-de-sac. I'll indicate right, I'll check over my shoulder, check ahead, and around I go. You've always got to have a plan B. And now I'll come down here, back to where I was hoping to execute that hook turn originally, and I'll complete it now. So a good example there of where you start the manoeuvre, you think it's clear, and then from behind the trees you see another vehicle. So you just have to be agile and just come up with an alternative plan to achieve what you're trying to do. Don't panic. Okay, we were parked outside that house with the limestone wall, so we're looking for somewhere now to turn around. Yes, you could use driveways, but you can use side streets and do the whole manoeuvre going forwards, which is safer. Okay, no vehicles coming towards us this time. Now we're swinging around. Before we re-enter this street, we have to check to the right and check to the left. It's clear. Around we go. And coming back down to park where we were. Making sure we don't park across that driveway. Okay, stopping there, into park, handbrake on if it's a manual handbrake, and indicator off. And that's the end of the left something behind exercise. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, now we're going to do section 3 of the test, and that will be a general driving section which will get us to the location of where we do our next exercise. So it'll be about 5 minutes of driving. Check our mirrors, no one coming. Indicate, check our blind spot, And away we go, cancel the indicator. Now coming down here, we're going to turn left. Okay, nobody coming. Round we go. And then turning here. So we just follow the curb as we turn the corner. By the time we get to this street here, we're on 45 degrees already. So just make your turning easier by just following the curb. Okay, coming up to a roundabout up here. We're taking the second exit, which is sort of off to the right. So we'll indicate right, even though it's the same street. And then we indicate left very, very quickly. You've got to get your indicator on for left very quickly there, because otherwise people think that you're turning right when they're coming towards you. Okay, turning onto this main road. It's a give-way line, so we don't have to stop, and it's clear both ways. And I can continue going through here. I've looked left a few times, and I'm going straight to the left lane. Why do I do that? Because the left lane is the default driving lane. It's not illegal to drive in the right-hand lane on this road because the speed limit is 70, but it's bad driving manners, and you will likely lose a point if you just hang around in the right-hand lane without good reason. Okay, there was no speed sign on this road, but I knew the speed limit just from local knowledge. Again, if you don't know the speed limit, you can drive out on the road, do 50, and state to the assessor that you don't know the speed limit. Now I'm going to turn left up here. Okay, there's nobody coming from my right, so I just proceed straight around. I'm off the main road now into the built-up area. Speed limit defaults back to 50. You need to know that. And it's a bit up and down hill along here, so just watch your speed. You might think I'm going super slow on the camera, but I'm doing 49 on my speedo at the moment. Okay, just down this hill. When we get to a roundabout, we'll continue straight ahead. So I'm just lightly touching the brakes here. It's a very steep hill. If I don't keep an eye on my speed and just touch the brakes occasionally, I will speed by the time I get to the bottom of this hill, so just be careful. Okay, straight ahead at this roundabout, so we don't indicate going straight ahead here. Check to the right, it's clear. Okay, indicate off when we get to the first exit, and cancel. Just following this road, there's another roundabout coming up in another few hundred metres. Okay, school zone here. I mentioned earlier on about doing your test early in the morning. If you do pay particular attention to signs, school zones between 7:30 and 9 in the morning and 2:30 and 4 in the afternoon. There is zero tolerance to speeding in school zones. Also zero tolerance to speeding in roadworks areas. So if you do 41 in a school zone, well, that might be the end of your test. Just taking the second exit here, turning to the right, indicating left to exit the roundabout. Now, a roundabout now, the assessor may well say to you, there's a car park on your left, we're going to come back to that car park, remember where it is. But for now, I want you to turn right. Second, of course, because we're doing a right-hand turn and the other car is doing a left-hand turn. Okay, now they might ask you to find somewhere to park the car. So here's a good straight section of road here. Indicator on, just making sure we don't park across any driveways, like this hidden one just here. Get past the driveway. Park indicator off. Now, one more thing that you should do just here on this steep hill is turn your steering wheel 1/2 of a turn towards the curb. Now, if you're clever, you can do it while you're moving, just before you stop. But if you want to take the easy way out, you stop the car and you turn the wheel 1/2 a turn towards the curb. Now, you may think that that is dry steering or static steering, but you are allowed to turn the steering wheel 1/2 of a turn when you're not moving. So that allows you to turn your wheels 1/2 a turn to the curb when you're stopped on a steep hill. Now, I'm not going to go through the physics of it all, but if you think about it, a car could roll away on any sort of a hill whatsoever, but it isn't enforced on slight hills. What What constitutes a hill where you need to turn your wheels towards the curb? Who knows? But just from experience, people have been marked down on this hill in the past for not turning their wheels half a turn towards the curb. Plenty of other people haven't been marked for it. But it's something to keep in mind if you're parked on a hill of any sort of steepness, whether you're parked facing up the hill or facing down the hill, just do the half turn. Can't do any harm, as long as it is only half a turn, so you don't get marked for static steering. So we're going to go back to that car park that we just went past, and we're going to park in reverse there. Now, because we drove past the car park and parked on the side of the road, we're going to be marked on two manoeuvres, first one of which is turning around to go back to the car park, and the second of which will be a parking manoeuvre in the car park, usually a reverse park. So, put the car into drive. Right now you can straighten your wheel if you want to, or if you just want to drive away and straighten as you go, that's fine. Check your mirrors, indicate right. Check your blind spot over your right shoulder and move away. Cancel the indicator. Here's a good place to turn around. Indicate left and follow the curve in nice and closely. Get yourself deep enough in so that you can turn around comfortably. Turning sharply now, looking over the shoulder as you do so with your right indicator on, and keep that right indicator on, check both ways, and back onto the street. Okay, now we're heading down towards the car park. So to get in there, we're going to turn left here. Now we'd like to get across into this red bit in the middle of the road if we could, but someone's gone and put an island here, so it's a bit tricky. But we try and make our way across into the red bit just in case we get stuck here. We wouldn't hold up cars behind us. In that case, there was no one coming towards us, so we could just proceed straight away. Okay, into the car park and looking for somewhere to park in reverse. Okay, there's plenty of spots on the left here. So I'm just going to come down here. If you're counting lines, make sure you do look ahead as you count. Into reverse, indicator off. Now if you leave your indicator on, no big deal, but you don't need your indicator on in reverse. Now looking around over the right shoulder, over the left shoulder, in the central mirror before you start to move, and again while you're moving. Just getting ourselves into the bay, and when we're straight, quickly straighten the wheel up while we're going slowly, and straight into the bay, bisecting those lines. Stopping when you're halfway in the bay, so when your shoulder is about halfway along the length of the white lines. If you've got a camera, you can also use that, but you don't want to be having your back of your car overhanging. It's just getting in people's way when they try and walk on the footpath. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. That's section 4 of the driving test done. Now what you've got to do is get back to the licensing centre unscathed, without breaking any road rules, without causing any hazards or potential hazards, and just basically impressing the assessor and not scaring them. All right, so we do have to indicate out of here because there is a choice. We could go right or left, and we just have to check over our shoulder there to see who's coming into the car park. Somebody might come flying in. Okay, we're turning right again here, and then onto the street. It's a left turn. Just being careful of people that might be on the footpath. So we're exiting a car park and crossing over a public footpath. Okay, back onto the street. Nice long drive along here, just make sure you don't speed. Up and down hills again. So maintaining your speed up the hill somewhere within 5 k's of the limit on the straight road here. As you get up here, you're not quite sure where the road goes, so you'd be excused for slowing down a bit. And up ahead is a roundabout. We're going to go straight ahead of this roundabout. Okay, get to the first exit, indicate left. Exiting, cancel. Up the next hill. This is about the right speed. And then we get over the crest, so you've got to make sure you don't creep over the speed limit. If you're sitting on or around the speed limit now, once you crest this hill, you could pick up speed, so just be careful. And it's a long downhill run from here, from Candlewood Shops, all the way down to Moore Drive. So you've done all the hard work, you've got through 4 sections of a driving test, you don't want to blow it now. So every 5 seconds, just check the speedo. Every 10 seconds, just check your mirror. If you find yourself going too slow or too fast, just self-correct. Okay, when we get down to the intersection, we are going to turn left. about to put the foot on the brake, so we check the mirror to see who's behind. Indicate, slow down. Again, follow the curb. See the curb goes sharply off to the left, check to the right, there's no one there. Again, back onto this road, what's the speed limit? We don't know. If you know the area, you know it's 70. Check behind and slow down. Now just be careful with these traffic lights in your test, they don't stay green for very long at various times of the day. So if you're maybe the third or fourth car going through, just make sure you do double check the lights. You'll be travelling slow as you take off, and the car in front may be a bit slow in moving away, and you might find yourself stranded at the traffic lights for one more phase. But just because they change so quickly, just make sure you don't take your eyes off them for too long. Okay, we're first car in line. We're going to check right, we're going to check left as we go through here. Okay, check right, check left. Don't let it slow you down, but just do the check as you're about to take off. Okay, very important here, the speed limit changes. 50, 2 signs. Easy to miss because you've just come through the intersection. Now the other thing that a couple of other things that can happen along here. One is that all the other traffic will speed, so you might get sucked into speeding. The other thing is buses often stop along this road, and there are no bus bays in this particular section. So if you see a bus in front of you with its left indicator on, it is pulling over to pick up a passenger or drop somebody off. No buses do left-hand turns along here. They're all going down towards the train station where they do a right-hand turn. So if you see a left indicator on, get out into the right-hand lane if you can, because otherwise you'll be stuck behind that bus. Okay, coming down towards the traffic lights, form one lane. Okay, the broken line in the middle of the road here finishes just down here. Check our mirrors, indicate right, check over the right shoulder, and just drift across. Wait till you got all 4 wheels across into the new lane, and then cancel. When you stop behind a vehicle, usually we'd say stop when you can see the back tyres of the vehicle on the road. In the case of a bus, they've got a massive overhang, so it's just using common sense and staying far enough back. Okay, just checking right and left again, even though I'm not the first car in line. If you don't do it as the second or third car, you won't get marked down, but it's just a good safe driving practice to check that there's no one coming through a red light. Okay, we're going pretty slow here at the moment. We do have a bike lane on our left, and the bikes could well be going faster than the cars. We're going to turn left up here, and before I turn across the bike lane, I'm going to check over my left shoulder. Because who knows what might have happened while I'm waiting here or while I'm driving down here slowly. There's traffic moving across that intersection in front. As you can see it passing to our left of the bus just now. That means the bus has obviously left that intersection unblocked, which is what they should do. Okay, check over the left shoulder, it's clear, around we go. No pedestrians crossing in front of us apart from that bloke there who's well away from us. But if there were pedestrians crossing in front of us, crossing the road that we're turning into, we would have to give way to them. But you'd already know your road rules, I'm hoping. And if you don't know those road rules about pedestrians, go away and learn them. Don't attempt your test without knowing your rules. Okay, we're almost there. We're going to turn right at this give way sign. Now the fact there's a give way sign here means we're on the minor road, the other road is the major road. Okay, you've got to come right down to the line because it's very hard to see past the parked cars. Okay, it's clear. We let that guy go first because he's doing a left turn, we're doing a right turn. And the finish line is in sight, but we're not there yet. Still got a challenging stop sign to get through. That pedestrian's just going to walk behind us. Done a bit of a dodgy left turn there. Now we come down to the line and we stop completely. Now this driver of the BMW is a bit confused here. After they go, we will go. And the driver facing us jumped the gun a bit there. Just because they got there first, it doesn't mean that they go first. Road rules apply. We were going straight ahead, they were doing a right-hand turn. Now be very, very cautious coming in here, because there could be traffic coming from various directions. And you've done the hard work now, you'll probably just be looking for somewhere to park the car. So the easiest park is a forward park to the right. So let's not get fancy, let's just pick the easiest spot we can find. Into park, and then turn the car off. And that's another example of a test route. That is a real test route, but chances of doing that test route would first of all be dependent on, one, the assessor that you get, and two, where they want to go on a particular day. Be a bit discerning about when you do your test. Don't just go and do it at any old time. Get local knowledge from people who can advise you on when is the best time to do your test, and in my opinion, as I said earlier, early in the morning or late in the afternoon are the best times. And that's it. Thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about it. We're not trying to outsmart anybody here or make things more dangerous by taking you out and showing you test routes in advance. We're just trying to show you the sorts of things that you're going to be tested on, and hopefully give you a bit more confidence to shake those nerves when you come and do your test. Now, it is no guarantee that you'll go to those places for your test, but they are commonly used test routes. Now, what we didn't do today was any really challenging right turns at traffic lights. So what you need to do is get out and practice those right turns at traffic lights so that you get an assortment of challenging scenarios. Some are easy, some are very difficult. Sometimes you'll get stuck out in front of the line and the light might turn amber and it might turn red while you're waiting for traffic from the other side to come through. But there are videos on turning right at traffic lights. Make sure you have a look at them. But above all, get out there and actually practice them. Now, we'll try to do some more test routes in the near future. But in the meantime, just go away and binge watch the ones that we've got and do all you can to maximise your chance of passing. Thank you very much for watching.